else that would be over Linsanity than their playoff run in 99.
Yeah, I guess I could say it was the most exciting 6 weeks to be a Knicks fan of my adult life.
If this current Knicks team, with a lineup of Frank, Zoe, Dotson, Knox, Mitchell Robinson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Vonleh, and Cantor, and then when Porzingis came back, if these 9 guys just started rolling off wins and went on like a 20-game win streak and made the playoffs, would that be more exciting than Linsanity?
Probably, because 20-game win streaks are historic. And I think
15-game win streak, whatever.
The fan base right now is so starved for a winner that it would be an entirely different feel to Linsanity, whereas Linsanity, it was a team that was supposed to be good and was struggling and had been good the previous season or two, whereas if hypothetically this current Knicks team rolled off 20 straight wins, it would be a young team ascending to the top of the league.
Right. Little note for the Linsanity game we went to. Someone who played 1 minute and 53 seconds. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Ronaldo Balkman. He was in
buddy.
He played in the Linsanity game. Anyway, let's get into a final round of questions. I know this has been a long podcast. Just so much with the current Knicks team, and then I wanted to get more in depth in Linsanity. Now I want to talk about Jordan. Damn. God, you're leaving me on a cliffhanger for the next time. All right, but let's get into who's your favorite Knick of all time.
Probably Allen Houston.
Okay, and why Allen Houston?
I loved his three-point shot. There was a quiet steadiness about him night in and night out. And he sort of was a really good supporting cast member for Patrick Ewing's later years, where Ewing couldn't necessarily be the guy every night. And so Houston was always there to be able to pick up the slack.
Right. You know what I've always found funny, and I kind of just realized this now, but our relationship, you've always been, I feel like, a little bit quieter, like you're into politics, and I'm a little bit louder. I'm into radio, entertainment, more of the joker, while you're a bit more serious. And your favorite player was Allen Houston. Mine was Sprewell. And I can't think of a better comparison, because Sprewell was always the loud tomahawk dunk, crazy cornrows, and Houston was just kind of quiet, definitely a big presence, but, you know, the silent, more of a silent killer, where you looked at the box score and went, oh, wow, he's got 20 points. When Sprewell put up 20 points, you knew it, because it was through dunks and threes and getting to the rim, and Houston was more jumpers, and he still got to the rim a good amount, but he was a much better outside shooter.
Yeah. I'm still convinced he had to have microfracture surgery right after he signed a contract extension with the Knicks. That is one of many reasons why the Knicks were so bad in the post-Patrick Ewing years. But I'm still convinced that if he had stayed healthy, he would have had a Ray Allen-like end of his career. Maybe not all with the Knicks, but I think he would have been a productive player because he could shoot for so long and because the game was moving more towards favoring three-point shooters.
Right. I mean, that's what happened with LJ when he became a Knick, was he turned his game around and became a spot three-point shooter for the Knicks. I mean, a stretch four that in today's NBA is the normal, but back then it wasn't. So, all right, let's get into who's your least favorite Knick.
I'm going to say Glenn Rice. He was traded to the Knicks in the Patrick Ewing deal, and in my young mind at the time, I thought he was supposed to be as good as Patrick Ewing, and when he wasn't, and the Knicks very quickly turned into the poor, misguided, star-crossed franchise they've been ever since trading away Ewing, I pin probably far too much blame on Glenn Rice than I should, but the fact that Glenn Rice did not turn into an all-star has always kind of gnawed at me a little bit.
I mean, Glenn Rice, when we got him, was 33 on the trail end of his career. He was 3 years removed from his last all-star season where he averaged 20 points per game. The year before, he averaged 16 points. You know what I remember most about Glenn Rice? Was when we were kids and we played, I think it was PS1, and I forget the NBA game we played, but it had like the three-point contest.
Yeah.
And one of us was always Glenn Rice, and the other was always Michael Jordan. Glenn Rice was always the best in three-point shooter rating-wise in the game, and then the other was Michael Jordan because he was the best player in the game. And one of us was always with the other, was one of those two guys.
Yeah.
That's the only memory I have. And this was before Glenn Rice was a Knick. I don't really remember him as a Knick at all, to be honest. Like, I had to look that up and be like, wait, he was a Knick? Really?
Well, you should have if the trade had gone well.
Right. All right, so next question. Who's your favorite once a Knick, always a Knick player? I've done this podcast too many times where I've explained what it is. You know what it is. So who is your favorite once a Knick, always a Knick player?
I'm going to say, I'm really trying to, reach deep for a deep cut.
There's so many, man.
There are so many.
Thomas picked Jason Kidd. Ryan last week picked Steve Novak. I saw someone tweet about Chris Copeland.
Ooh, Copeland's a good one.
Okay.
I got you tell me if this is too well known. My once a Knick, always a Knick is going to be Kurt Thomas.
Yes!
Specifically,
I love that!
Specifically, the second time that Kurt Thomas was on the Knicks, I'd like to clarify that for the 2011, 2012, 2013 season or whatever it was, when he was
2012, 2013.
grumpy old man Kurt Thomas. That is my once a Knick.
Old man Kurt. That's like old man Logan. Like,
yes, I would very much like to specify that it is the second time that Kurt Thomas is on the Knicks. Not the first time.
I fell in love with Kurt Thomas because his first year we had him, that was our finals run in '99, right? And he was so good at the pick and roll and specifically the pick and pop, to the point where Dad put that play in his playbook when he coached us. Was not pick and roll, but the pick and pop. And it was taking a shot at the elbow jumper. He was so good at that. It didn't matter who his point guard was. It didn't matter whether it was Marbury or Howard Isley or whoever. I mean, he was so good. And we had him. I mean, the guy was a double-double machine. He only ever averaged a double-double once as a Knick, but it just felt like you could rely on him for 10 points, 10 boards, night in, night out. Every time he hit that elbow jumper, it was going in.
Yeah.
I think he shot 100% from the elbow his entire career. And I do remember getting him back because we got him. That was the same year we got Kenyon Martin and Sheed and Marcus Camby and Kidd. And it was all these old guys just for being like player coaches, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love Kurt Thomas. Great pick. I'm so happy you said him. Okay. I know the season's early. I don't want to ask you how many Knick wins do you think the Knicks are going to get this year? I feel like we're 25% into the...
And right now they're 8-19.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to say 24 wins.
Okay, 24.
Much fun as it has been to watch all of the young guns play, there's a rookie wall coming in mid to late February, and I think wins are going to be really hard to come by towards the end of the season. So,
but that's also when Porzingis comes back.
If he comes back.
If he comes back. Okay. You're assuming he doesn't come back in your 24-win scenario.
I'm not assuming he does come back.
Okay.
And I think if he does come back, it's going to take him some time to get back into being Kristaps Porzingis. I think there's going to be some rust. There's going to be some growing pains.
Well, we have him on we have him on our fantasy team that we do together, that we co-manage, and we kind of need him to come back, even though we're like, God, our team is so injured. It is.
I know.
It is bad. Anyway, last question. When do you think? Give me a year. The Knicks win their next championship.
The year after I die.
Dude, that's not
you want an actual year?
Yeah, I want an actual year.
And not a bad joke?
Not a bad joke.
I will say 2070, 100 years from their first NBA title.
Wait, you're saying 2070?
Yeah.
2070.
Yes.
All right, well, I'm going to give something to whoever the winner is. I got every single year, a person who's been on this podcast, and the year they pick, and you are by far...
Well, look, here's my the real reason is that I don't think they're going to win a title as long as James Dolan is the owner. And so hopefully by 2070, he will no longer be the owner.
Hopefully he will be. Yeah. There we go. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. I'm got to have you on back again to talk about that Jordan game you went to.
Yeah,
Appreciate
of course.
It. Family first. I love that. So, real quick, Mom just texted us a picture she found. It says Rose and Mello and Noah and Lee and KP6.
Oh, my goodness. That should be like the gag gift that you award to whoever finishes in last place in your fantasy basketball league. They have to wear it at all league functions.
That's good.